Good evening, everybody. We are so glad you are here. We have a very special guest tonight. We're talking to Coach Aaron Chong, who is going to lead us in a discussion about blended families. Aaron has been a coach for a while and phenomenal. Can I just say phenomenal? His contact information is in the bio below. Hit him up. So I am Money Coach Mary RN. I am one of the co-hosts. My other co-host, David Smith. Take it.
You know what? You guys are excited that you are here today. Whether you're watching this live or after the fact, I'm going to tell you this is going to be off the chain like you've never believed. Now, Aaron is a phenomenal coach. There's been a couple times we've tried to get him on here, but we've saved this topic just for him because this was his special topic. And so,
Hmm.
my question is, blended families. When we blend our families together, there are so many. What comes to my mind is the Brady Bunch. Four girls, four boys, and the husband and the wife all come together to make the Brady Bunch. Now, some of you guys are too young to know that, but that's what I kind
Correct.
of thought when I thought the Brady Bunch, when I thought the blended family. So, Aaron, let's dive right in. By the way, anybody that comes in, just want to mention this. If you want to speak in chat, please do. You do have to be a subscribed person and you do have to be logged in. So just make sure that you're logged in and that you're subscribed and you'll be able to chat. We want to engage with you in the whole entire time. So when you post something, we're going to bring it in right away. So, Aaron,
And if you hit a really good topic, we're going to bring you on live.
could be, yes.
Come on.
So, Aaron, let's dive right in.
Okay. Well, as you were saying, David, blended families. What what is blended families? What what I look at is, for me, as I coach singles, I coach couples, but my heart especially, it actually goes towards the blended families, meaning if someone was married before and maybe was a divorce or passing of a spouse, and then they get remarried, and then you have these two families that's coming together. That is what the type of blended families that my heart goes to, because I've lived that journey myself. you know I know firsthand how beautiful it can be, how complicated it can be, how emotionally layered, because of the different personalities it can be.
Absolutely.
And when you have two households in becoming one, that's not an easy task,
Mm.
Mm. Well,
right?
you said a key thing right there. Everybody knows nothing in life comes easy, but it's always very fruitful. It's just like with a blended family. Like if you stay single your whole life, you're going to have it easier, but it's not going to be pleasant because you're always going to be missing that thing. But when you add anything in, it always brings complications. So you said a
Yeah.
key thing. I love that. We want to have, when I was younger, you'd say, you got to have a woman, but you can't have a woman. Um, you'd love to hate her. All these different kind of things. But the thing is you definitely do. But then there's always going to be those things that come up.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's where it brings, in the coaching practice, what it brings for me, is actually the passion that I have for that, is a passion to build unity, of course, to build clarity and for peace around the finances, so they can both, so the family can thrive together.
Hmm.
And that's where, it started to really pull my heart that way,
Hmm.
um, towards the blended families. And there's so many things that, they face. Blended family face different, unique challenges. That traditional, maybe financial advice rarely addresses. Compared to a blended couple or blended family, right? You have, because if you think about it, a blended family, you have, two histories, two money stories, two sets of habits already,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And then you have different, depends on if they have kids. They have kids that are combining. They have two different parenting styles and
Mm-hmm.
expectations for each side,
Yeah,
right?
that's hard.
Uh, that can be hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I've lived it, right? Then you have the emotional baggage from the past relationships. You
Mm-hmm.
have maybe some trust wounds that show up in the financial decisions, maybe pressure to make it work for the kids. You know how many times you hear that, right?
Yeah.
We need to make this work for the kids.
But
Um,
I like what you said there about,
mhm,
like the kids and everything.
mhm.
So the one thing is in a relationship, you have to have opposites attract. Because if you both are the same, it's gonna suck. But what happens a lot of times is you have one way over here, one way over here, and with them being on opposite sides, you draw them in together so that you actually have the perfect medium. But a lot
That's
of
how a
times, what
magnet works. You can't put a magnet
Negative to negative, positive
right,
to positive.
yep,
right. You have to have the different poles for that magnet to work. It's the same thing with humans.
yep. But then the problem is, kids they
Mm.
see and they're like, oh wait, if I ask mom, I have a better chance of getting it. If I ask
Mm-hmm.
dad, he'll say yes. So if mom says no, I'll go ask dad. If dad says no, I'll go ask mom.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
know?
that's where it's important to come together, Aaron, isn't it?
Yeah,
In that combination of we parent together.
Hmm.
yeah,
You can try that crap, but you're not getting away with it.
Exactly.
exactly. Well, and then when you have, the kids that come in, whether it's the wife that has an ex-husband, they're over there and then they're with you, and then so rules are different for the houses,
Correct.
and rules of what you give them can be different. One side of the relationship of your stepchildren, maybe their mom or their dad on the other side are makes 500,000 a year, and
Mm-hmm.
then the other side, my kids, we don't. And so how do you blend all those things together? So even as easy, or not easy, but as finding up ways to merge the homes where logistics wise, or who has visitations and all those kind of things. So that's why, you know I really took to building a part of my practice to doing the blended families, because I know how overwhelming that can be, or it can feel. And
Mm-hmm.
then but then I know I've gone through it, so I know the hope that people can get, the unity they can build, and the healing that's possible when you get clarity and shared plan together as a husband and wife. It can make a big difference.
What do you say the biggest key is, Aaron?
The biggest key that I have seen in my own life is really communication, and really getting on the same page. Now,
Correct.
my wife now and I, when we first got together, we went to a pre-marriage counselor, and he was good enough that he actually coached through different areas of our lives that we probably will face.
Nice.
And one of them was finances.
Mm.
So, when he started to talk that way, a lot of things that he talked about was communication and being open.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you come into a marriage, a new marriage, or you blending because of divorce or whatever it was, you are coming in with some baggage. If you're getting married when you're 21 years old, different than when you're getting married when you're 55 or 56 or 40 or whatever, right? You already have gone through some stuff in your life, so you bring some baggage with you. So the thing that we talked about with him, which I use myself, is merging finances. Talking about merging finances and really digging deep on each of them and their thoughts, their values,
Mm-hmm.
everything that they feel they need to bring to the table, and having it all come out. Not doing it where I 2 weeks later one of them are not participating or
Yeah.
whatever. It
Mm-hmm.
has to be all because, again, like some of my notes that I have down that I do it. They have different spending habits.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they don't. Very seldom you will find one that they're the same.
Right.
One partner being more structured, the other one spontaneous,
And
right?
that is key. You actually want that in a relationship.
Hmm.
You don't
Right.
want them both spontaneous or
Mm-hmm.
both of them detailed planner.
Hmm.
You want them to be opposites.
Exactly. You do. And it's a good point, because if you both are free spirit and want to spend, 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 or you both of you are really, what is the other part, nerd, all about the writing it down, having a balance with both,
Hmm.
and then going through what they went through to combine their lives together and their
Mm-hmm.
family, they can have a fear sometime of losing independence.
Yep.
It
Sure.
depends how long they were by themselves with the kids and helping them, raising them, and all of a sudden you get connected, and it's all of a sudden you have relationship again, right? Um, the anxiety of past mistakes that they've had,
Mm-hmm.
all those things come into play, and that's all on the financial side, the relationship side. Then you have the added responsibilities of the children.
Yeah.
You know, how do how do we, as new married couple, how are we going to? What's the dynamics going to be like? Right?
Right. Yeah.
Diff-
How do you know that the children are going to get along?
yeah.
And because this
Mhm.
is all new to them, and so they have to work through all of this as well.
Right.
And then you throw, as they get older, hormones into it, and that
Hmm.
opens a whole nother ball of wax.
Yep. And then you can get these your kids against her kids tension.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, why do you um, discipline my kids when that's my kids? All those kind of stuff comes
Oh
into
yeah,
play.
yeah,
On
yeah,
top of them trying to mend and meld their finances together,
yeah.
you
Yep.
get all of those different expectations for chores,
Mm-hmm.
discipline. One parent feeling protective or guilty because they're not spending enough time with their kids.
Mm-hmm.
Pressure to make up for the past with spending. That can happen a lot.
Hmm.
You know, whenever if they're 50-50, they're with the other parent 50% of the time and with you 50% of the time. Sometimes the one that they go and visit feels guilty, so they will give them more. Then they bring that to the home, and then the other kids, if they're younger, going, how come
Yeah.
they got that?
Yeah.
What's up with this? Right. There's a
Yes,
lot of stuff to balance
there's
in there.
so much to it.
I had one client a long time ago, back in the early 2000s, maybe earlier, and they had three girls and one boy. So the oldest girl, at the time that I was helping them out, was 13. She had one father that had a restraining order, was not allowed to be in the family at all. Then they had the other two girls. They were 5 and 6 or 6 and 7. And these two had the same father, and they seen him every other weekend. And then they had little boy, which was a baby. I think he was like 1 year old, by the current man. So the current man got spoiled by the current father. The two younger girls got spoiled by their father, and the oldest got shafted.
Leaves her out. Yep.
Every time the two girls
Mm.
came back, they had stuff. And then the oldest is like, what about me? So they had to go out and get stuff just for the oldest, just so it blended in. So it makes it hard when you
It does
have
make it hard.
several um, fathers and you're blending all those kids together,
Mhm.
you know.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
very hard.
And as the adults, as parents, we made that choice to accept their mom to be my wife.
Yep.
So they became my kids, even though it's a step kids, and um, but your love for them needs to
Mhm.
be strong, so
Yep.
they can feel like you are their stepdad,
Right.
and so going through that, when my wife and I got married, my stepdaughter, she reaches out to me like I'm her biological dad.
Yep.
I open let the door open for her. She wants to come in and say things about her life or things that I can help her with. And
Mhm.
that is huge
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
I'm married, and then, as I'm coaching people through this steps, then you have not only about the children part, that's a huge part, but then you get the part about the exes, right?
Yeah.
So, for instance, you have possibly obligations for that: child support, alimony, shared expenses,
Mhm.
where, and I know of a couple that shared expenses. So the exes, instead, they need to have daycare, but instead of the daycare, they put them into after school programs for daycare. So instead of paying at that time, when they started, instead of paying $500, $600 a month for daycare, it was 1,300. So their portion of that is like 700 or
Wow.
650, and instead of 300 a chub. So all those things come into play with
Yeah.
a family that's blended. Those are the things that you don't see as much with just a couple that are starting their family together, right?
Correct.
So, and then there's emotional triggers. There's emotional triggers about how are we going to take care of this extra money that's being paid for child support. That's what it's for: child support, to support the child in whatever. It's not like, oh, hey, I can just
Right.
take time off because I have this child support. That's not really for them, it's for the child, right?
Yeah.
That's
So
why it's
those
called
all those
child support.
exactly. And I mean, if people use it the way they want to, that's fine.
Mhm.
But in coaching people through that, those are all things that they don't sometimes don't look at it close enough,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and that can cause stress in the family.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And speaking of that, I know some people, they actually have more kids so they can get more child support.
Mm,
The problem is child support gets a maximum of a certain percentage. So your first child, yeah, you get a bigger sum, but then it'll shrink and you get smaller amounts for the bigger ones, and then eventually extra childs, you get nothing.
mhm,
So if you're
Hmm.
trying to manipulate the system, no matter what, you can't get that much.
mhm. Yeah, and it depends on what state you're in
Yeah.
on how child support works, right?
Yeah.
So, for instance, like in Oregon, for child support, you pay child support for the child all the way up, and then if they go to college, you continue until they're 21 or something like
Mhm.
that, right? But some states, they don't have that.
Here in
So,
Missouri is the same.
oh, okay, and those are all the things. And then one of the things that I do hit on also is sometimes the emotional and the spiritual side of all of this. because they'll get, sometimes you have some trust issues, you know, um, maybe trust and fear of conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And then that brings the being behind on financials, being behind on saving for retirement because of being a single parent for a little while, um, wanting to build a legacy, wanting to give and build your legacy for your family and give to the church or tithe. All those things can really deeply, deeply um, put some burdens on blended families.
So you bring up a good question. Now, um, under 18, you're obviously paying child support no matter what state you're in, at least up to 18. But after they get out, and I mean, they're over 18, but they're going to college. So for both your states, you said 21. Does that child support now go to the child if the child leaves the house? Like they left the house and they're at the dorms at the college? Or,
Um, the the parent that's paying for child support, their obligations end. So if at that point, by the state law, they don't have to pay anymore. But if a parent can afford to assist for them to go further in their college education, it's on them, you know. But it's just the obligation for the parent that's not the custodial parent to pay into a certain age,
so
you know. So
if they're 18 and they go to college, they don't have to pay, but if they stay at home and go to college, then you have to still pay.
sure, say that again, David.
So if you have a child, like
Mm-hmm,
I'm paying child support,
mm-hmm.
and the child turns 18, if they go to college, go to the dorms, everything like that, they don't stay at home no more, then child support ends. But if they stay at home and they go to college, then child support continues until 21.
It doesn't matter if they go and stay at a college or they're from home, but they drive to the college. If they turn 18 and they do go to college or take college classes, then you still continue child support.
Yeah, child support still continues. Here in Missouri is
Con-
that way.
Child support
Let's put
still
a disclaimer
continues.
out here. We're not attorneys. We can't say
Exactly.
this.
No, exactly. This is just stuff that the reason why I said that is because I pay child support.
Yeah.
And when my daughter went to college, I continued on until she was 21.
Well, I am
She went to college.
thankful. Michigan is not that way. Um, because I don't want to have to pay. Now, the children, I 100% agree and would help them out tooth and nail. But I know a lot of those guys out there don't want to help the lady out as much as they can because they're not putting it to the children. Um,
Mhm.
so I'm just thankful it wasn't that way because your relationship actually gets built stronger um, that you have the touch with them. You're in communication with them. You're helping them out. If you're having to give money over here, then you're going to give less money here, even though you want to, you just don't have the means if you're having to give it over here as well.
Yeah,
So with
right.
not having to give it over here and then giving more over here, I think it really builds that relationship because it's like, oh, you really do care. Yeah, for you, not for no.
That's
And
where I think it is hard because a lot of times having to I was a recipient of the child support when I got
mhm.
divorced. And I hear so many people go, I shouldn't have to pay because that person doesn't use it for what it's supposed to be used for. Prove that.
Mhm. See, and those are the type of stuff that with a family, that are blended and stuff, those are the type of conversations that a husband and wife has.
Yes.
You know, you feel like, okay, why am I sending this money for? Then I have to really think back into my head going, because this is for my kids.
Right.
Where
Right.
that goes, I am just doing my dad thing that I supposed to do.
Correct.
And the court ordered that I have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and what they call, sometimes they call, you know, a deadbeat dad, whatever it was. I've never wanted to be that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wanted to make sure that I followed everything that was on paper that I had to do. And those are the things that I work or I try to uncover with clients
Sure.
that are going through this.
Mm-hmm.
And then how, as a coach, that's where we take all of that and how do I coach them through it? And that's where it becomes where the rubber meets the road, they say, right? This is where I do my best to have a safe, judgment-free space that we can talk about anything.
Correct.
You know, not only talking about money, but if there's shame, there's blame, defensiveness, having enough uncovering discussions that they can feel that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know?
And Aaron,
Yeah.
I've known you for quite a while now, and I sense that in you always in our conversations. You have that welcoming spirit. You have that, let's find the root of this and let's
Yes.
talk about it. And
Right.
that's beautiful.
Well, thanks for saying that. And as you notice, you know, the wave behind me, growing up on the islands
Jealous.
of Hawaii, they call that the aloha spirit. Aloha is a deeper level of loving people. It's a deeper level of the Polynesian way, right?
Mhm.
So I do my best to have that always as my first way of introducing myself to somebody,
Mhm.
you know, and that bringing that into it. Besides that part of coaching, we dig deeper, looking for clarity on their current reality.
Exactly.
What is that clarity on their current reality? Because sometimes they think they're clear about something,
Mhm.
but in reality, the water's murky, you
Mhm.
know? And those are the type of stuff because then it comes down to income, expenses, debt, maybe, obligations they have, priorities, emotional triggers. That's a huge one,
It is very huge.
you know? So that's how I use this also, not with only the blended families, but I use that with anyone I coach. I try to use the same foundation to find out more about the person,
Sure. Sure.
right?
I think that's what we do as coaches. We find that we dig. That's why we do this.
Yeah.
Because those dig in sessions, that's what brings to light what is going on. And that's how you get to coach people through their circumstances.
Exactly. And sometimes it's so hard because if I do have a family that are a blended one and I'm doing a discovery session with them,
Mhm.
it is sometimes so hard for me to not try to fix things because I've been there.
That is the
Because you
hardest
want to
thing.
bring it to their attention
Mhm.
of and having them see it to have a plan to fix it. Not me saying, "Hey, Mary, stop doing that." You know,
Right.
no.
Right.
And that's where my aloha spirit keeps coming to me saying, nope. You
That's
know,
beautiful.
let's together with the two of you and us with how you parent your kids on both sides. Let's find a way to have a unified plan. To have a unified plan to, you know, maybe and having a shared budget or spending plan. I like to use that. Sounds not as negative, right?
Yeah.
A shared spending plan, shared goals, or not only goals, but like a target, a dream. You know, if they can have shared ones like that, shared values, shared expectations,
Correct.
you know, if they can get to the part where they can communicate and they know what their triggers are, they know what the expectation is.
Yeah.
If I have to bring a negative financial thing to my wife, I know what her triggers are. I'm going to approach it differently. But if you don't know all this stuff, then it can cause one of them to not want to do the spending plan, not wanting to
Absolutely
do
correct.
this or do that, right? So, you know, and then not like I said, it's not only for blended families. This goes for everyone that we encounter. You know,
Because we all grew up with stuff. We all have our
mhm.
experiences as we were growing up. Because
Yep.
we all know that this was not taught when we were in school.
Yeah.
No,
Hear that from my clients so many times. I didn't learn this in high school. You didn't learn this in high school because it's not taught.
no. We had home economics in high school.
Yeah, you could
I
learn how
remember
to
them.
burn an egg, but you can't
Well,
learn how to handle your finances.
they showed us how to write a check from a checking account
Yeah,
and balance a checkbook. I
yeah,
remember that part.
Yeah.
The rest of the time for the cooking stuff and for
right,
the sewing part of home
right.
economics, I just made sure that I was actually in a group that had a couple girls that knew what they were doing because we get graded about what we all did, and
Right.
us guys would just bring them donuts and stuff, and they
The ultimate bribe, donuts.
So, you know, the funny thing is, most fat people, you bring them food and they're happy. You know, that's the key to our hearts is food.
I
Um,
don't think that's just fat people. I think
no,
that's people.
it's a lot of people. So again, back to Hawaii. Hawaiians love food. You
Good
know,
food when I was
Hawaiian
over there
loves food.
last year.
You can have anything in anything can happen. A 1 year baby birthday party can be 500 people because there's going to be food, you know, or come over to Uncle Aaron's place, you know, and because what do you guys want us to bring? Oh, it's always food, right? So anyway,
We went to a party the other day, and my husband goes, "Food there?" I'm like, think about that for a second. Do you know who's involved? This one is a fabulous cook. There's going to be food. He's like, well, I was just making sure. I'm like, dude.
so blended families. Um, as we get closer, or as I get closer with them, and we start to get a plan put together, some of the things that we do talk about or have tools is tools for their communication. You know, how to talk about money in a way that builds connection together instead of conflict.
yeah.
Correct.
You
That's
know,
great.
and I mean but you know, it sounds, all these steps that I'm talking about sound simple enough, but when there are two, like you said, magnets that are pushing hard against each other, that sometimes can take a while to get there, you know. And then the after, if we can get to that part, then we can talk about the path towards peace, you know, instead of chaos, clarity,
Great.
instead of tensions, teamwork, instead of fear, confidence, and instead of trying to survive, they can have a purpose. And that's where I try to help them get to, you know. And from there, beyond that time, hopefully we can get them to a place where they can have long-term planning, stewardship, building something new together as a family,
You know,
So
you
you
know.
important.
say something real key there, Aaron. Um, Sometimes we need to find a tool to fix so that we have the thing. And by the way, speaking of which, um, Absolute CRM, a lot of people out there in the Ramsey network Ramsey is letting a lot of people off the chain. They're getting away from the preferred coach, and a lot of coaches are losing their CRM.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a solution for that. We have what's called Absolute CRM, which uses Go High Level, but it gives it to you cheaper than what you can get it for Go High Level. Go High Level at the cheapest plan is $97. Right now, you can get Absolute CRM at its simplest form, $88.
Nice.
You can't beat that. Make sure you check out the link below. Now, getting right
Mm-hmm.
back into the blended family, it's key to have the right things to be able to help the families operate better. And I know
Mm-hmm.
in coaching, Aaron, you use a lot of tools and a lot of things to help your clients get on track. I know one of the things that I love using, so simple, but a paper chain. You make chain links and you cycle it through your house for whatever you're doing. Trying to get out of debt, each chain is $100. If you're trying to save up for your new house, each chain is $100. And that physical sight of a chain
Mm-hmm.
and each one being broken. And by the way, we are breaking chains and taking names, but
That
breaking
we are.
those chains, I had to throw that in. And I hate when my hand goes up, but I had
Oh,
my hand up too long. But the key is having something visual so that you
Mm-hmm.
see it
Mm-hmm.
to be able to help you, especially in a blended family, because there is so many, and you got to pick your
Right.
battles, right?
Mm-hmm.
and that's a good way if you had younger children, because what a fun thing for them to be involved.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yep.
what a fun thing for them.
Yeah, my
You know,
brother, he has a 7-year-old girl gonna turn 8 in a couple months. She was actually making chains. Now, this was during Christmas. Now, it wasn't for, an exercise. It was for Christmas ornaments. But she was making the chains. Okay, it was
Mm-hmm.
really cool.
The question is, was she breaking chains and taking names?
Nah, she was making them.
Oh, okay.
We were
oh.
breaking them afterwards.
I have
what
a,
a
we talk about visuals. I had a client who's like, I love the movie Up, and they were trying to pay off debt. And I said, well, then go find yourself a picture, and every time you pay some whatever, color in a balloon. She was very artistic and had that kind
Mm,
of creative spirit. She's like, I love that. I said, yes, and then post it on the refrigerator
that's
for
awesome.
your visual. She's like, oh, that's
That is awesome.
great. But finding
Question
something
is,
like that.
once you have enough balloons colored, you're gonna run out of refrigerator space. You're gonna have to go to the wall. So it'll be the refrigerator and the wall, and
Okay. And your point?
I'm just looking at the beauty of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you should do the hallway so
Right.
it's not so.
Right.
Well, you can go from the refrigerator to the hallway and down.
And if you're artistic, you could do like a plumeria flower and keep doing and drawing a plumeria flower. It looks like a lei that just keeps
Yeah.
going, right? Hey,
Ooh.
so
You know what? That comes from a Hawaiian that loves to wear the lace around. Um,
oh goodness.
uh,
So
the fun we have.
back to the blended family thing. My why. Why do I, or the heart of my message of helping people, blended families. And and I've used this before. I've looked at it and all that stuff, but I think it says really where I come from within my heart. I coach. blended families because I live the complexity and the beauty of it.
Mm.
I know what it feels like to want unity, peace, and clarity. And I know how powerful it is when a family finally feels like they're rowing, or I put on there in parentheses, swimming, Hawaii,
Mhm.
in the same direction. My mission is to help families experience that same hope, healing, and strength.
Ooh, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I've had someone say this to me before, and I could not remember where I got this from, but it says, blended families aren't broken,
Mm.
they're brave. And with
Mm.
the right tools and guidance, they can build something incredibly strong, healthy, and unified.
Oh, I love that.
And
I love that.
that's why
That is
I.
powerful. Hmm.
Mhm.
Nice.
Well, and just getting a little vulnerable here, but I come from a blended family. My dad was 100% Italian, and he was gone very young in my life. Then I had a second dad, my brother's dad, and he was Cherokee Indian, and he hated me because I wasn't Cherokee.
Mm.
Then we had, see, Italians, you can come into the family. Indians, you cannot come into the family. If you're not that Indian blood, like Cherokees don't even like Navajos. They're very against each other. But then to make things even worse, we ended up getting a third dad. So talk about the issues and the rivals and the blendedness.
Hmm.
Trying to blend an Italian with a Cherokee.
Mm.
Um, that is fun. So, I lived that. And then when I grew up, um, as I've been in a relationship to a relationship and really seeing, um, it's very interesting how we bring our childhood into
Mm.
the newer
Absolutely.
families, and we hold on to certain things. Well, I'm Italian. You don't want to step on me. You come challenge me, I don't step down. You know, um, we hold on to certain things into our other relationships, which has some pros, but it also has some hindrances. As well, these are my children. I don't want you interfering with them.
Mm.
No, they're not your children. They're our children as soon as we came together.
Right.
Um, if they're not our children, then we're not together. They're your children, and I'm just with you. So blended families is a process because you get very attached to your children. Like my children, my child, my children, I get very attached. Like, it's hard to see somebody else um, saying that's my daughter when it's your daughter. It is hard to hear those words. It's hard to um, comprehend somebody else accepting your kids. Just like it's very hard when you first come into a family and you get to be with a woman or a man, whichever, depending on which you are, and they already have children. And to start off, well, you're not my dad or you're not my mom. Until it always takes a while. It doesn't happen right off. And then they start to accept you. Hey, dad. Hey, mom. What? Don't say that. Right? Um, Thankfully, I know one that never did accept the second one. That was a blessing. But it is hard and it is a process, and they usually do eventually come together,
Hmm.
but it takes time.
And it comes down to how do the step parent react to
Mhm.
stuff like that? How do they react to it to show them love? No matter if they say that word, you're not my dad,
Yep.
is how do we react to that? And
Yeah.
hopefully that most people can react in the way that will be constructive,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That can be such an emotional trigger when
Hmm.
your emotions are at a height anyway because something's going on,
Hmm.
and the non biological parent says something and they get a "you're not my."
Hmm.
That was one thing we luckily never had to deal with my now oldest when I got married to my husband.
Sure.
You know, and I've heard of people saying that, and I'm thinking, ooh, we were
Yeah.
so blessed to not have to deal with all of that.
Yep. And being the step parent is having a great conversation or communication with your spouse
Mhm.
about how the discipline thing is going to happen.
Mhm.
You know, we have our rules, but how do I discipline her kids in a way that will be respectful, but get to the part where maybe it's something that has to be really, really taken care of. It's
Mhm.
hard for the step dad to
Right.
discipline that way. So it's actually a combined effort to
Yeah.
work that through. And then
And go ahead.
like David was saying about personality or nationalities, you know, growing up in Hawaii and how we were raised and what's normal there, it's different from what my wife went through. So when you come together, even if it wasn't a blended family, just the different cultures coming
Mhm.
together is different,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
especially when, I come from Hawaii, that's 80, the town I grew up is 80 degrees all year round. And, and you got winter, you wearing sweatshirts and no, I mean, it's just, so when you come here and then I'm out there shoveling snow and I have shorts on, it's kind of, and my
Aaron,
neighbors,
I would
my
say
neighbors
people
taking
probably
pictures
looked
of
at
me
you.
because they
Yes.
say, "Who's this crazy Hawaiian guy out
Right.
there? She's got
Right.
shorts on." No, anyway. So I
Well,
mean,
you don't have to be Hawaiian to wear shorts. I wear shorts 99% of the time. Even like this morning, I was outside waiting, and I was in shorts at 6:45 till 7:15 when it's 30 degrees outside. In shorts, short sleeve shirt.
And here I am with 3 layers on. Had them on all day.
Well, I
One
have
of my
three
future
layers on.
son-in-laws,
so
I have
there's like,
my shoes, my pants, and my shirt. 3 layers.
that's not what I mean.
and probably I think a shirt, not a coat, huh?
Well, I have a thermal,
Oh, for you, yes.
I have a dry fit, and I have a jacket. And I've had them on all day and I'm perfectly comfortable
And David's outside with his shorts,
with
his
the shorts.
t-shirt.
Yes. Whew.
So
And I have my blanket on.
there's culture, and then there's crazy. No, I'm teasing David.
So, Aaron, which is David?
Guess I'm in the in between. I'm not crazy yet, but I'm not. I'm just the in between.
Okay. You do you, boo.
Speaking
Yeah.
of doing you, you know, it's so awesome and really great to think about you. And one thing I just have to say, right here, you've got three powerful coaches. Now, here on Breaking Chains and Taking Names, We have a lot of coaches that come on here, and you get the experience to see a variety
Mm,
of
wisdom.
very good coaches talking and just chilling and having a good time. How would it be for you to be able to talk to one of us and just be able to chill, chat, and just have fun?
Can I just say awesome?
Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
I mean, you've got the money coach, Mary RN, that'll shock you into order. You've got the Hawaiian chilling on the waves, Aaron. I mean, you
Aloha.
aloha. You've got unique people with unique personalities. You got to get a hold of these powerful coaches. And it's very simple to do that. Just get in touch with them. Aaron's link is in the description below. Now, I'll give you a little secret. We have a directory that's in the process. It's going to be phenomenal. The first 1,000 subscribers will get into the directory absolutely complimentary. So you want to join.
Free is good, people.
Yes, get your name, your business out there so people can know who you are. And all you have to do is subscribe.
So, David, hold on a sec. How much is it?
Absolutely complimentary. As
Okay.
Goose
long
egg.
as long as you are a subscriber, it's complimentary. Now you
Mhm.
unsubscribe, you lose it. But stay a subscriber and it's in there for life,
Right.
you know? And that's phenomenal. You always want to try to find those free advertising. And so definitely become a part of that. It's only the first 1,000 subscribers. So make sure you get in. We're at 151 now.
Yep.
So spots are limited. You may say, oh, there's plenty of room for me. But then when you wait, all of a sudden there's no more room. Now you'll still be able to get in, but there'll be a
Mhm.
charge. We don't know what it is yet, but there'll be a charge. So get in while it's getting's good. And next thing is we have an awesome community that's here just for you. Now, so many communities are out there and they want to charge you an admission to be able to be part of the community. You got to pay $1,000 a year, and you can be a part of this community that's in Mighty Network. You got to pay $500 a year, and you can be in this community that's in Facebook. You can pay $200 a month, and you can be in this community that's here, and we'll also give you an app that doesn't cost that much. There are so many communities out there, very few are free. This community here is absolutely free of charge. We never charge for it. It is geared towards personal development. And so you want to grow, everybody does. Join. It's for you. And the price is the best price ever. It's free.
We're financial coaches. We like free.
Yep. And
Mhm.
it's in the description below. And then the next thing we talked about it earlier is the absolute CRM. A lot of people are looking for a CRM. But on top of that, we've made it cheaper than the main company. The main companies go high level, and a lot of people are using it, rebranding it, and calling it their own. But very few, matter of fact, I was talking to one lady, you can't sell it cheaper than the company. The company charges 97. You can get it through Absolute CRM for $88. Can't beat that. So if you're looking
Okay.
for a basic CRM, here it is. But on top of basic, it's an all-in-one. Social
Mm-hmm.
media posting,
Mm-hmm.
Mary's perfected it. We have
Big on it.
everything all in one. So even though it's only 88, it's everything. So you definitely got to get into it. There's companies out there like HubSpot that adds and adds and adds and charges for every single thing. And it's a la carte and it's really expensive. Nothing compared to Go High Level. So make sure you check the link out in the description below. And then also, we have one of the greatest opportunities in the world Today we were here with Hawaiian Aaron, one of the greatest coaches that is very deep and has a very good connection with you because he really, truly, deeply wants you to grow. So, Aaron, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my coaching practice called Stronger Together Financial Coaching. The reason why is if it's for a couple, they're stronger together when they come together.
True.
For them or singles to connect with me, we are stronger together. For me and Mary and David and all the other financial coaches that we connect with, we're all stronger together. Then when it comes down to the truth of it all, we're all stronger together with having Christ.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where stronger together has come from.
I love that.
Love it. And that's powerful. And if you guys want to get a hold of Aaron, his Calendly is in the link below, so you
Yep.
can connect with him at any moment. And
Yep.
he's also in the directory, so you'll be able to find his business and everything about him. He's powerful. Make sure you get in touch with him. Now, Mary, did you
Yes.
have any final words?
Yeah, you just need to do the dang thing. Get your finances organized, connect with Aaron. You won't be sorry.
That's right. Aaron, did you have any final words?
Nope. Only that thanks for having me here today. And
It's
not
been a
only
blast.
connecting with me, Mary, David, powerful coaches that can help you really have a plan to change your life.
We'll see you guys next time